The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. In this podcast, we look at different daily habits that impact how we manage stress, how our mood lands with the people that we love, and our overall happiness and energy. We've been going through a list of different pillars that contribute to things like stress management and overall health, brain health. We've been talking about Alzheimer's and different things like that. And we've had some pretty eye-opening stats that we've shared over the last handful of episodes, Ryan. And today we're actually talking about cognitive peak. And this is where we think about training our brain like we train our body. So a lot of us spend so much time thinking about, how do we look? How do we, perform for when we're climbing these mountains, like Mount Kilimanjaro, like Ryan did. But how do we train our brain, Ryan?
Yeah, that's such a good question, Jacqueline. And I sit and I think and I wonder how much it must really be miserable for your brain not to work the way you want it to. Because we've talked about these things like Alzheimer's disease and I think to myself, because I've had this by no means like in a bad way, but you ever get that feeling where you just can't think of a word and you're like right in the middle of a conversation and you're talking with your son or like somebody and you're just like, oh my God, my brain's just not working.
Sometimes it happens on this podcast.
But imagine if that was normal.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if that was how our brain worked, where we really had to try to just think of the right words to put into a sentence. And for me, that's super scary because I want to be able to think clearly. I want to be able to act clearly. I want to be able to make decisions. And what we've learned over these last couple of episodes is these high levels of stress just so massively impact all of that. And then we go, oh yeah, let's go to the gym in the morning and let's like throw the weights around, but we're wrecking our most powerful muscle by not taking care of it. So today we're talking about training our brain and what that might look like and how can we train our brain, because we know, Jacqueline, we don't think about this, but our brain actually uses 20% of our body's energy. Our brain alone uses 20% of our body's energy. It's the default mode network for our brain. So even when we're just resting, even when we're just sitting there, our brain consumes almost as much energy as focused work. And when our mind starts to wander, replaying these old conversations or future conversations that are never going to happen anyways, we start to judge ourselves. We start to worry about things. We start to compare ourselves. And our brain never gets a chance to turn off. And we spend like half of the time that we're awake just with these stinking, wondering thoughts, right?
Yeah. And I think like some of us, I don't know, some of y'all out there that I know, your brain probably uses more than 20% of your body's energy because you're like always overthinking and ruminating on things, So they say, 47% of your waking hours is spent mind wandering. And when your mind is wandering, there's said to be this reduction in happiness. And so the people that are performing at the highest level and they are fulfilled and happy, it's not that they don't have stress in their life, but they've learned to train their brain to respond to things deliberately and intentionally, as opposed to just reacting and then, maybe cleaning up the mess later. Like they're very deliberate in their thoughts, what they allow themselves to focus on. My husband is like this, like the guy, I'm like, have you ever even been like had anxiety before? Like, I don't know that he has. He's so deliberate in what he chooses to focus on. And you mentioned last episode, the show Shrinking, and the attorney guy that's always like, everything always works out for me. And it's so annoying. Yeah. Well, that's an example. It's not this like delusional optimism that we're talking about a choice between focusing on what could go wrong and what is wrong and what could go right and what is right. And if you realize that it is actually a choice, it's pretty powerful. And before I learned about all this stuff, Ryan, like when I was younger, I'll say even up until like my 30s, probably, I used to think that genuinely happy and optimistic people were fake. Like I literally thought that they were fake because I was so negative inside, so miserable, so my mind was definitely always wandering. And so I just thought that if those people are that happy, like it's got to be fake. There's no way. That's not real.
I feel like that about Brendan Burchard. I shouldn't say I felt like that. I'm like, this guy's got to be faking it. Like, how does he have this much freaking energy? How is he so positive? How is he? Well, he will tell you he's not always like that. He's trained himself to be like that.
Yeah.
And when you train yourself, when you train your brain to stay in a positive state like that, you find those wins so much more because you're learning to control how your brain wanders. We spend so much time of our brain wondering. And I think, Jacqueline, that's one of the reasons I've come to love meditation so much is because I do that every single morning and I force my brain to wonder and I force myself to go to places that I don't want to go because I know they're going to come anyways. And then I can find a solution for them in my own time and space in the morning before I go out and I see the rest of the world. Then my limited time that I have later in the day to make decisions or to have thoughts that are going to wonder, I've already encountered those. And I think so much joy is robbed because we start to think and we start to think about other people and then we start to compare and then we start to think, well, they've got so much more than I do. They're so much prettier than I am. Their shoes are nicer than mine. And we compare and now we are just robbed and now we are miserable.
Mm-hmm. So they say that output from a 90-minute block of true focused deep work is 4 times more productive. So this is where we are deciding for a period of time, I'm not going to have my wandering thoughts. I'm not going to let my brain, go on a little like walk and get lost in my brain, in my thoughts. Mm-hmm. I'm going to focus it. I'm going to direct my focus for 90 minutes. So, so your brain actually has a built-in 90-minute performance clock. So it's the same 90 minutes that govern our sleep cycles, that govern our daytime alertness. So these are called ultradian rhythms. Working with them multiplies our output. Working against them causes burnout. So this is where you say like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. I'm going to sit down for the next 4 hours and I'm going to knock out this project. Well, that over time will cause burnout. But if you sit down and say, okay, I'm really behind on this project, I've got to focus and I'm going to do 2 90-minute blocks with a 10-minute break in between. So I can get up, move around, maybe do some box breathing, maybe go step outside, maybe have a snack, some water, whatever. But I'm going to do 2 90-minute blocks. You'll be so focused. You'll get more done in the 2 90-minute blocks with a break in between than you would if you sat there and tried to work for 4 full hours.
Yeah, it's so true. We all know that. And we've learned that because we understand that your body is just going to start to get distracted. If you go sit down for 4 hours, yeah, you might sit there for 4 hours, but you did 18 different things during that time. Yeah. You actually weren't as effective as that 90-minute focus time frame, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what it might look like in that 90-minute block. You'd have like a warm up. So your attention's normally like naturally we might be kind of scattered, right? That's normal. So you wouldn't fight it. You would just sit down. You'd maybe start writing, organize, set some context. This is where your brain is loading the next task into the working memory. So if you do allow yourself like a 20-minute warm up, and then you have this from minute 20 to 70, that's called your peak zone. So that's 50 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you are in maximum cognitive power. You're in deep problem solving, creative decisions, complex negotiations. Guard this window of your 90-minute block. Then you have 20 minutes, 70 to 90 minutes. You're in what's called wind down, where your attention is naturally declining and your brain signals that it needs recovery. Review, summarize, close loops, do not start new complex tasks. So we've been implementing this with our real estate team. We've been doing what we call them workouts, but at the office, we'll set a productivity timer and we'll do a 50-minute block. So we're like, okay, we're going to start at like 9:10. We set a 50-minute timer. We do a 50-minute focus block, and then we take a break. So we're capitalizing on that peak zone to get things done in the morning that we traditionally don't want to do. Okay.
Because we know that in the morning we have the most energy, right? So if you want to do something that's going to move the needle the most, or your highest paying activities, it's best to do those in a couple 50 to 60-minute blocks between the hours of roughly 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., right when we wake up and get to work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can have recovery after that. And recovery is not checking your email or your social media.
No.
So that's kind of like, if you listen to the last episode, I shared my old stress management technique of like having a glass of wine if I was stressed out, or 2 or 3. Social media is like drinking wine. All you're doing is pushing pause on your problems. You're postponing them, as Ryan said. So checking email and social is actually not a recovery. So what you want to do for recovery is take a real break. You want to take a little walk. Again, these don't have to be long, but a walk, a nap, like close your eyes for a few minutes, get sunlight on your face, like breathing exercises. Those are actually physiologically helping you recover.
So we break that down in 90 minutes and you go, okay, gosh, that is actually totally doable. If I break these into 90-minute chunks, I warm up a little bit, I'm in my peak zone, I wind down, and then I take a quick break, and an actual break, making sure that I'm not just delaying things, but rather taking a quick break. And then Jacqueline, we'll end this episode with these 5 mental models. Now we got something that's just going to change people's lives in only 11 minutes, but we'll save that for the last part.
Okay.
These 5 mental models that conserve cognitive energy, right? So we're time blocking. Then we're doing what's called energy accounting. Energy accounting is just like every decision, every social interaction. Are we managing our energy, and are we scheduling our highest cost activities when our account is full? We all know the studies of the judges that make terrible decisions Friday afternoon at 4:00. And we feel bad for that person because that judge just wants to get the heck out of there. So energy accounting. Number 2 is decision minimalism. We've all seen Steve Jobs with the same black turtleneck every day. We've all seen like Obama with the exact same suit. We see these, like Ben Kinney wears a black hat, black shirt just about every day. What they're doing is they're eliminating decision-making processes first thing in the morning. So decision minimalism.
Yeah.
Now this one, a lot of people will fight, Jacqueline. This is called single tasking protocol, because everybody or so many people say, I'm a great multitasker. Well, no, you're not. Nobody is a good multitasker. This actually can reduce your IQ by up to 10 points. And what it does is it takes you out of that flow state, like we just talked about, when you're in that peak zone. You think you can multitask, but you just set yourself back coming out of that peak zone. So single tasking will get you much farther than multitasking. The next one.
Wait, you skipped this one part I think we should share. Did you know that when you multitask, it reduces your IQ more than smoking a joint or cannabis? Okay.
Yeah, it reduces your IQ more than smoking cannabis, which
Brian,
I did.
Brian wanted to skip that one.
I skipped that. I think just for time's sake, Jacqueline.
I know I'm teasing you. Okay, what's next?
Maybe I'm going to test that out now. I don't know. Implementation intentions. So this next one is called implementation intentions. So this is like, Jacqueline, well, when this happens, then I will do this. Pre-deciding our responses. In other words, when I eat dinner, I will then go for a walk. because what I usually do is eat dinner, then I want dessert. But if I can change that mental model, I eat dinner, then go for a walk, that will help me conserve that cognitive energy.
And then have dessert?
And then have dessert.
You can have your dessert and then go for a walk, as long as you do the
I'm
walk.
eating that yogurt with protein that you told me about, and that's my dessert. Really good.
Yummy. Okay, and then what?
The last-
Pre-mortem analysis.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's before any major decision. We all know like post-mortem, right? This is pre-mortem. So it's like where you think about, okay, imagine it's 12 months from now and it failed. What went wrong? And this neutralizes optimism bias, survivorship bias, or sunk cost thinking simultaneously. And just the other day, our partner Ben Kinney did a call and he talked about those biases and how they can impact our leadership, our decision making, and our outcomes. And so by spending some time doing a pre-analysis, you can actually make better decisions and have better outcomes. So those are the 5 mental models that conserve cognitive energy.
And last, Jacqueline, we are going to give our listeners something that they so badly want to hear. This is how 11 minutes per week can transform your brain chemistry. Jacqueline, a friend of my son's told me the other day, he's like, Yusuf, I love Yusuf. He's such a good kid. And he's like, I'll be like, what are you up to lately, Yusuf? He's like, I've been taking cold showers. I'm like, is that right? And this kid's in 8th grade. He's like, taking cold showers. He's like, yeah, I've been taking cold showers and it's terrible. I'm like, I know, that sucks. I'm like, why are you doing it? He's like, I don't even know why I'm doing it, but I heard that it's good for you. And I was like, I just love this little 8th grader hearing that cold showers are good for you. And I said, well, have you ever tried to, like take a warm shower and then turn it on at cold at the end? And he's like, you can do that?
Gosh, hilarious.
So, what we know about the cold, we call it cold exposure or cold water immersion. This increases neuroepinephrine by 300%, dopamine by 250%, and it creates a sustained neurochemical state of elevated mood, focus, and stress resilience that lasts for hours. You can do it for 2 to 3 minutes a day. And yes, you can start your shower just like you normally do. Start it warm. Take your normal shower. That's okay. Then just turn it like halfway. Pro tip, don't go all the way cold or don't start cold because you'll never do it again. You can ease into these things, Jacqueline. Take your normal shower. Keep it hot like you normally do. Now just go halfway. So it's like warm. Then go a little colder. Then go a little colder. Do that for a few days. Then end with that cold water for 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 times a week. 300% increase in neuroepinephrine, 250% increase in dopamine, 300% increase in brown fat activation, meaning the subcutaneous lower levels of fat is more likely to burn, and a 62% decrease in sick days.
That's crazy. And it creates a sustained state of elevated mood, focus, and stress resilience that lasts for hours, an effect not replicable by any legal substance.
11 minutes.
Cold water. It's free.
Couple minutes a day. So try that, listeners. Try that. Take that 15-point plan. Take the things that you've implemented. Get up. Get a little movement in. Spend some time in gratitude. Write in your journal. Spend some time in mindfulness and think about all these thoughts that are going to come to you anyways. And then you get ready and take a shower and end with cold, and you will be unstoppable. Follow us on social media, dang it, Jacqueline Ray Smith and Ryan Park Greigg. And don't forget, there are a lot of other amazing episodes and other podcasts at the Win, Make, Give Podcast Network. Go listen to those, share them with a friend, and tell us which one you like the most, Jacqueline Ray Smith and Ryan Park Greigg. Until next time, everyone, we thank you for listening. Take care.
Bye, everyone.